Greetings. It is 12:55 on 111. 12:55 on 111. It's a 111 energetic cycle. Oh my goodness. Well, greetings, my fellow light worker, twin soul, supercalifragilistic espidalidocious followers. I just came on here is just to do late night, early morning shine. Happy 111 day. I was planning to do a YouTube live yesterday, and it just couldn't happen. I was just processing so much energy. Right now, I really don't feel as good. I have been having massive headaches, going to the toilet, sitting on the toilet so often. My body's just processing so much energy, so much stuff, even to do with my children. And had to deal with my own triggers, whatever. This is the eclipse. It's like whatever stuff that I've gone through before, it's like, here it comes again. But it's not as intense like all the other eclipses that I've had, but it's still there. So greetings, Donnie and Papal. Where are you right now? Are you in North America? Are you another side of the world? You're the East Coast, West Coast, Middle Coast? Anyway, I just said, let me see who's on. I just want to just talk. I'm not going to go too intense, with anything, but I at least wanted to talk about what is, happening, at least my own experiences, what I've had to pull through within the past few days. And part of it is, again, I've been feeling like today, like I felt so spacey and I felt like as if I was just like in another realm, and then my body, I could feel like so much stuff just processing through my body. That's what it felt like. So it's almost like I was in this world and out of the world at the same time, and going into deep thought. Memphis, Tennessee. You need to speak a little Southern. Yeah. So what's been going on with you? How you been feeling? How have you been processing through your stuff? Like I said, I've had to process through myself with being honored, even greater. And I told the last three kids anyway, the three out of five. I told them just this evening. I told them, I said, you know what? I'm making my decision. There's certain things I'm just not going to do anymore. And it can feel overwhelming because I have more messages coming in from people from all different platforms. And it's like I'm pacing out myself, and I'm honoring myself even more. And something that came through as sort of like a trigger thought for me was my cousin, Sade. She just came back from Jamaica, and then I had my uncle who transitioned on January 1st. I was planning to talk about a whole lot of stuff, which I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I'll be able to do the live tomorrow on YouTube, because I had so much stuff I wanted to share in relation to not only the eclipse, but also this full moon is in Cancer, also how it relates to myself and my twin, and everything that's reflecting, mirroring, coming together. I mean, we're really embodying much more of this higher consciousness, and a lot of things are coming up to the surface, what's coming from within the super consciousness. So I believe that the way things have been happening, like rotating and going into that completion phase, and what we are, I would say, energetic releasing and pulling together these karmic energies and karmic cycles. It's like it's so expanded that it makes you feel like you're here and there and everywhere, closing out a cycle, beginning another one. It's like it's like as if the earth is, it's not even like as if it is, but it is like the earth is split. Hey, Jessica. It's like the earth is split in two different realities, and even multiple realities, but more so what had been created from within yourself as far as the shadow and the light. So I feel like as if everything that I've been feeling, whatever part of me I felt dishonored, is like it's splitting away from me. And then I'm also processing it through my body. And I had such a massive, when I say a massive headache, by the time I woke up this afternoon, I had to go back to sleep. I had to ask my daughter just to make something for me to eat. And I couldn't even get out the bed. I felt like as if every part of me was like in a dysfunctional type of feeling. But I've felt this before, so I know what it feels like. But now it's almost like I'm also pulling in energies to do it. My mom, who's on the other side, and her birthday is the 12th. And my grandmother had 12 children. And then my uncle had transitioned on the 1st, and he's the 4th child from my grandmother who gave birth to 12 children. So he's the 4th child that my grandmother, I would say, that had given birth to, that is not on this side anymore. So I started putting all these numbers, sequences and stuff together because I also had a dream on 12/21 to do with Saturn. I dreamt about the planet Saturn. So I intend to, talk about all of that more so tomorrow, but I just wanted to just talk at least about, paying attention to how you are reacting to everyone and everything around you, because it's in the reactive part, like how you react to things is what shows where you are able to go to the next level with how you deal with your emotions, and all the people around you, whatever has affected you, especially since childhood or your young adulthood, and what a difference it'll make for you now in how you respond to things, because Cancer represents emotions, feelings. It represents the mother, how you relate to your mother, how do you mother yourself, how much more you're aligning with your own emotional integrity, learning to say no, and again, like the honoring of self, and how much do you connect to this sacrifice energy, because so many of us have sacrificed so much of our time and our energy into family, children, friendship, jobs. You're programmed into, you got to do this, you got to do that, and then the next day it's like the same thing again, and I didn't get to do this, so I got to do this, and it's like there's just no space for you to be able to be. And a lot of times we've been taught that you have to do it this way only, and then it becomes like you're sacrificing, and then the resentment builds, and then the personal attack starts to come on with yourself, towards yourself, and you're not realizing it because of what you've taken on from you when you were a child, and also from other lifetimes. So, when you do release whatever part of yourself that's been holding on to something emotionally, it makes this room for you to be able to create, and for you to not be attached to all the other stuff that comes from ancestors, the lineage and all that stuff, and what has been controlled around you, all those old structures and the structures of how you've had to do things. I mean, I even had to replace something else again today. Like my adapter for my phone disappeared, gone, had to replace that. So even the physical objects that you own or have, whatever you've had from years ago, whatever, even that too is going through its own process. I know it may seem crazy, but it's true. So it's like as you're ascending within yourself with stuff, it's like everything else around you is also having to shift and to be out of the way, because everything and everyone is moving into alignment with you on it's such a huge, powerful energy that, yes, it can make you feel overwhelmed. And I felt overwhelmed yesterday. I felt so overwhelmed. It's almost like the time, everything's just crunching, squeezing. That's how it feels. And it's like as if you feel like anything that you want to do, just as if it just, it's like you're losing grip, or you can't grasp it any longer. It's just gone. That's it. It's just gone. And then you have to just kind of work through your way to aligning with whatever is presenting itself new in front of you. And I say, like I said before, it's just surrendering. And if your body is saying, go get some rest, go get some rest. And even if it means that you rest and you wake up and you just do something and you have things to do, then your spirit is going to say, well, you're going to go right back into the bed again, and you're going to rest again, and you're going to, ease up on anything that has been so routine for you, because all the routine stuff is changing and shifting, and things that you think that you have to do is also changing. If someone has been a part of your life, with certain things that you've done with them is no longer able to align in your space. So that's even some of the things that I've had to let go even more. But more so for me has been me honoring myself more. That is what has been occurring within the past 24 to 36 hours, which I've gone through that theme for myself before, but it's like this time it's amplified. And when I say, I just said, you know what? There isn't anything that I have to do. But sometimes even when I say it in the subconscious mind, you don't realize how you still play out that role, especially when you're even if you never gave birth to a child, but there's this energy of, well, I still have to do this. Okay. And then think about every single thing that you do by the time you wake up in the morning or the evening or whatever time, because we're rotating with the timing of sleep and what we eat and how we eat. And, everything is just in rotation. Everything Spirit showed me is just going in this cycle of what's ending and completing out one cycle of energy, bringing in the new energy. And it looks like number 8, the infinity symbol. Whatever you've experienced in previous lifetimes with your family, which also represents aspect of your twin soul, if you're on the twin soul path, we're ending so much of these karmic energies that's tied to masculine and feminine. In other words, if you have been in the divine masculine energy in this lifetime, and your twin is in the divine feminine energy, whether you're in the female or the male body, it's like there's a greater emphasis on the masculine energy and what's closing out with that cycle as well. So the divine feminine has been moving through a lot of stuff continuously for the past several years, and you're going to feel yourself becoming and feeling more empowered. You're also going to be feeling yourself like, how do I say this? Like trying to understand where to place yourself in this new energy. So it's going to make you feel like you're discombobulated. It's going to make you feel like, you don't know what to do next, and just allow your higher self to lead the way with that. There's a lot of divine masculine that have been reaching out to me that also that they're really desiring answers or just guidance, and just know that it's also happening within you, because it's like that true sacred masculine is like bridging itself, and it's moving forth, and it's coming through. And the way how it had been in the past, remember that the patriarchal energy had been existing for centuries upon centuries upon centuries, attached to hundreds of thousands of lifetimes. So be gentle with yourself, be compassionate with yourself and with others, and know that the way how it changes, the way how it shifts, it's not necessarily what you do, but it's what you bring into awareness. Okay. And when I say that, I mean, yes, take care of yourself, pamper yourself, take sea salt baths, go to the sea if you can, meditate. Okay. But here's something else Spirit showed me. When you bring whatever it is that you have felt, an emotional pain or heaviness, triggers, okay, how are you attaching it to yourself and how you respond to things, okay? And with those triggers, how can you start seeing it from a different perspective, but you're aware of what it is and that you're able to move through it, okay? So in other words, when you bring yourself out of the darkness, okay, but you understand the darkness, you embrace it, you see that part of yourself and how you have been and where it's come from, identify from the past and bring it to the present. As you bring it to the present, you see yourself and say, oh, this is me. Oh, this is who I was. Okay. And this is who I am. This is who I was and am, because was and am is still in the same frequency. It may look like it's separate because, but gee, that was 10 years ago. But guess what? It is still in the present moment of who you are. That is how you embrace the totality of self. That is how you're able to bring the center of yourself. Okay. And it starts by bringing it into awareness. It's almost like when you have a aha moment, like, oh my gosh, that makes a lot of sense. Aha. Oh, wow. Okay. That is how you're able to balance out yourself with the awareness that you bring to what it is that you have felt, either a trigger, or if something has been missing within you, or something that has affected you with being controlled and feeling disempowered, anything that you haven't been able to fulfill as a dream for yourself as a child or a young adult. If anything has felt like a burden for you, or anything has felt like you're in fear, especially fear of what someone says, or fear of retribution, or do I need someone else's permission to do something that I want to do for myself, right? So you bring that part of yourself into an awareness of where did it come from, where did it start, and how I now can take the steps towards my freedom and do it now, and being able to release whatever has been holding you back. And when you do that, you not only do you integrate the part of yourself that wanted to be something or do something, but you're also identifying how it was before, but that you're being differently now. Notice I said being. Your thought process, how you perceive it, is what changes that reality. And each time you ascend to another level, you're going to process and purge out that old process, or that old feeling, or the old thought of how you were before. And it goes in layers. You don't just get healed immediately with everything right away, because I've gone through my process for years and years, and it continues on and on and on, until it comes to a point where you don't feel the trigger as intense like before, but it's still there. Okay. Because your body is also attached to the experiences of the past. And so because your body's attached to the experience, and what I mean by that, like when I had contact with my divine masculine, the physical, I'm telling you, there was times when I had just pain just show up just like that in different parts of my body. I've even had stuff that showed up in my body even without being in contact with anyone at any time. And it just could have triggered from just reading something. And all of a sudden I see things from my past life with being stabbed and burn marks and all kinds of stuff. So just be aware, be in a greater awareness of what is happening through you, not to you. So you're not victimizing yourself. So that way you can apply who you're going to be and what happens next after that. Okay, so whatever cycles that you are coming through with ending, what Spirit showed me is that be aware of the people that you are in contact with, whether it's family members, friends, co-workers. It could be an animal, it could be anything at all that is connected to life, okay? And how you feel. When you pay attention to that, what is showing up in each of those individual person, that's what's mirroring back to you as far as where you are in your ascension process, okay? That it's not just directed at they're doing this to me and, oh, look at me and, oh, they better straighten up and blah, blah, blah. Because if you're not dealing with it, it's going to show up again by the time we go through another transit and another time again. Okay, so I know that for sure. What was another thing that was shown to me? Because there was so much stuff. Because when I was planning to do the live, I had all my notes and stuff because there's so much data that I have been receiving and so much information and so much processing. Even this afternoon, I just barely got out the bed. And someone who is had a similar name to one of my friends, her twin has the same name, and that person liked off my picture to do with what I posted to do with the fortune cookies. And so when I looked at it, I knew right away there was a message that was coming through with that. So I messaged her right away and I said, oh, look at this. I said, this person has this name, and attached to it was a word. And I tapped into it and I said, oh, definitely this has to do with him going through a life review, because it's like his higher self connected to me. At that moment, I didn't know she was somewhere where she got a message that her twin, within herself, that her twin was going through a life review. And I told her, I said, you're going through a life review did yesterday, talking about what happened in the past between them, and the energy itself came through to me on Instagram that I saw at that moment. And I told her, I said, apply how you are bringing on the new divine masculine template, even though she's in the female body, but she's bringing in the new divine masculine template that is processing. I call it processing because, when you think about stuff that you do on the computer, it goes through a process and then it goes through a completion phase, right? Even when you're upgrading, when you're going through these upgrades, the upgrade means that you're also having to release and to purge out the old stuff. And we're integrating the new DNA codes. And I told Kelly, I said, oh my God, I feel like when I was out driving on the street, I told her, I feel like as if some photon energy was coming through, because it's like I felt like I was out of it, almost like being drunk, but not quite drunk. So it's more like I was feeling spacey and tired and out of it. And I felt like I could, because I didn't even think I would even come on a live, because I normally don't want to come on. I don't feel that great. And the headache was so intense. I was feeling everything just pulsating all up here to my third eye. And I said, okay, there's more things that are expanding, and I could feel the intensity. So I knew that while I was sleeping, because when you're sleeping, you're also receiving these codes. And because it's coming in such a rapid pace, it's speeding up and speeding up. So it's like being in, I call it like being in a washing machine. You're going through the different cycles of that washing machine. And it's just like when, you go through the rinse cycle, then you get washed again, and then you're going back into another rinse cycle, and then you're going around and spinning and spinning and spinning. And that's what it feels like. Because you see, the eclipse itself is the parts of self that's eclipsing out from the old cycles of the past, okay? What had been pushed through the generational cycle within your families, friends, and all that stuff, right? We all know all the labels and things that we've created throughout lifetimes, okay? So... And how we shift it out is that we may either change the names of things, we might change the habits and do something different. Because I know in our reality, it may look like, oh, we just talk it. But this is the time Spirit says 2020 is the spiritual and the physical is coming into its alignment and its inner and outer balance. That's what that means. The masculine and feminine has been working its way through each part of its cycle, and how you have identified from many lifetimes that you've switched places with your sacred partner, and then you've switched places even with the body itself. And so as you're bringing in that inner and outer alignment, the eclipse is what's eclipsing out those energetic cycles that you have attached to, with the south node that's in Capricorn that represents the structures. So we're rebuilding, and as you're rebuilding, you're also breaking down. So if things feel heavy, chaotic, things might feel like you're going into more separation, or breaking away from people, or breaking away from places where you live, or having to move out from where you have been. Jobs just suddenly, your boss might say, oh, we don't need you no more. Just suddenly, just like that. You could have done a great project yesterday, and all of a sudden you're out. It's like, it's sudden, it's abrupt. You're going to be going through a lot of abrupt energy. You're going to be going through a lot of things that are just taken from you. I went through that with my own Leo Aquarius eclipse cycle. And that was not fun for me for the past 2-3 years. So, but I'm still feeling the intensity of the eclipse, because the opposite of me, the polarity of me, is my divine masculine. So because his sun is in Cancer, and then I got 2 children, their sun is in Cancer. So they're helping me. They're like, the 2 of them is like one version of my twin in the younger form, and the other son I have is the older version in the second form. And it takes so much to push through it and integrate it. And like, I have to honor myself and honor the process of how they're showing up in my reality, and still bring it all together. That is what you're doing. That is what you're doing. So understand the process of how it's working for you in your reality, whether it's no matter who it's showing up as. That person is reflecting the part of you that's, whether you're just ascending through yourself, or if you're ascending through with someone that you're connected through as your twin, because it may show up, in different ways, but the process is still happening. It's still occurring. So as you're bringing in that inner alignment, that comes through from the eclipse. The full moon is amplifying that part of you to work through your emotions and your own cycle of how you are doing things differently or behave or responding differently with your feelings. Are you honoring your feelings? Are you honoring yourself? What else again? What is family to you? What is the dynamic of family to you? What part of you is yearning and desiring to bring your family together? Are you looking for it to come together on the outside because you're expecting other people to be different, in front of you? Or are you going to recreate what family is for you? It doesn't matter. Is there something that was missing from your childhood that you never got to do? Or maybe you did it during your childhood, but you want to do it again, then go do it again. You know what I did for myself over the Christmas, whatever? I said, Merry everything. And I tapped in and I said to Spirit, I said, I'm not celebrating Christmas the same way that I did when I was younger. My soul she just takes over. She was like, well, you're not going to get a tree. It didn't happen. Okay. And whatever or however it's celebrated, I already know the truth. But what I'm doing differently is that I'm recreating how I'm choosing to celebrate it as the Christ consciousness. I'm choosing to celebrate it as magical because it is a magical time for me. However anyone else chooses to celebrate how they celebrate, I honor them for how they celebrate, as well as I am grateful that they honor me for how I celebrate, okay? Others may feel they don't want to. That's okay. I'm just going to keep having more fun. That's right. And so I look at it that as I celebrate it differently because I'm restructuring how I'm doing it, but I'm still allowing myself to be in my joy. My magic is I did the things that I love to do, you see, and anything else. Even with all the other holidays existed, I know the truth as far as what has happened to our peoples, but I'm not holding tight to what is attached to it and what has happened, to hold on to and to keep going on with the pain or talking about it over and over and over again. Every time you keep repeating something and talking about it over, how ironic Erykah Badu is playing in the background on and on. I didn't do that on purpose. That's Spirit. I just love the way Spirit does this. When you keep on in the process of what has upset you or what your family has discussed and you feel upset about it, when you keep repeating it and repeating it, you know what happens? You're recreating that reality. You're inviting it to come into your world and for you to start that storyline all over again and go into the anger and the frustration. You know what happens? When you allow yourself to be pulled into that darkness, then you start to miss out on what you can do differently for your life that brings you joy. So there's a key to when you're aware of the history of what has happened before, you're just aware of it, and then you can just let it stay in the Akashic records. If you need to tap back into it to remember something, that's okay, because we are going through the constant review of everything. We're reviewing and reviewing and reviewing. This is the life review. You're reviewing all the stories, the memories and stuff, but are you stuck in it? Are you still recycling with it over? And that's where the eclipse comes in. The eclipse says, okay, the eclipse energy is now no coincidence that it's lunar, which is feminine. And then the moon itself and the Cancer is feminine. It's mother. How are you relating to the feminine energy? How are you relating to the emotional attachment that you have to the stories? How are you related to the emotional attachment you have to the stories that you're connected to with someone else? Are you able to detach, or are you still holding on? Are you able to let go of the outcomes of how you want things to be? Or are you still holding on? Are you telling God how you want things to turn out? Or are you allowing the universe to have things manifest so you can be in your magic? I can tell you that I have been creating, my outer reality has been coming in faster and faster, like a speed of light. As I think the thought, or ask a question, all of a sudden it just, boom, just like that. When I did my last, it wasn't my live, but I posted that video on YouTube when I had the dream to do it, Cardi B. It was just 8 hours before that I was talking to Tavon, and he told me what he told me. And I said to him, watch and see, I'm going to have a dream to do with who this celebrity is. And bam, there it is. Just like that, I had the dream. Soon as I feel or pick up on someone's energy, the contact comes in. Okay? Even when I spent Christmas with my family, and I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go. My cousins just wanted me to be there. And I said, well, my family, have been pulling away from me. And I said, I don't feel like being in a place where I'm going to be going through any nonsense. I have to explain myself and they don't understand where I am energetically and spiritually and so forth. And it's not for you to explain anything. Just keep being you. Keep being your authentic, true, raw self, no matter who she or he is or both. Okay? And so I heard my twin come to me and say, Sharon, go. And I'm like, really? And he said, yeah. He said, because when you go, you're going to be interacting with me through your family, because your family is actually my family and his family is my family. So in other words, my family has been getting me prepared for my reunion space, okay, for what comes next. So therefore, whatever I'm experiencing or feeling or picking up on empathically or however I'm interacting, it was actually him in all the versions. Doesn't matter what physical body that they're in. But all I focused on was having my joy. That's it. Just having my joy. Just being in that celebratory energy, no matter what thought was going on, no matter what anybody else was going through. My cousin's dad, my uncle was getting ready to, and I said to him, just stay positive within yourself. And I felt and I knew my uncle was going to be passing. And I knew that there was a strong representation of his passing because he transitioned the day my grandmother was born, which is my mother's mother. So we're talking about my uncle transitioning on the 1st of January, which is my grandmother and my mother's side's birthday, and she's Capricorn. My mother's Capricorn. Her birthday is on the 12th, which she showed me and came to me that there's a strong representation of that Saturn conjunct Pluto, and I had the dream to do with Saturn on 12/21. When I recorded the dream, it was 12 minutes and 21 seconds. There's no coincidence with any of this. So I knew that it meant something is breaking down in my family. Something's breaking down in your family. Something's breaking down in all of our families. We are restructuring, and it starts from the microcosmic scale with your family, and then it goes out into the universe, and then it starts to expand in that universal consciousness. So we are now working through the super consciousness. Do you know what I mean when I say that? So we worked through stuff from the subconscious mind within the past 10 to 12 years as we were going through the ascension process. Now Spirit told me that some of you are starting to tap into the super consciousness, because you have your super consciousness, then you have your subconscious mind that's working straight to the conscious part of yourself, which is your physical reality. I did a reading on someone about a week ago. I think it was a week ago. I can't even keep track of the time. And when I was reading for her, I kept speaking and it was coming through so quickly. I was talking so fast that my brain wasn't anywhere in the conversation. And then I heard the voice within me saying, this is not your higher self that is receiving the data and bringing it through. This is higher than your higher self. And I was like, wow, it's almost like whatever part of my higher self was, there was like a space in between, like another veil that I pierced through, that I was receiving the information connecting to that woman's higher self for her reading to do with her twin soul path. And it was flowing through so quickly. And whatever I said to her, I said, oh my gosh, I need to tell whoever I communicate with what I got that came through, because my brain did not hold the information to memorize it because it wasn't supposed to be that way. This is what is coming through in this reality right now, and what it means to be living out yourself authentically from an even higher view of your higher self. That's even closer to the God consciousness, okay? And to be in that space, there is no attachments. There are no beliefs on what may look, real or if it's crazy and so on and so forth. And that is where I was. That is where I was. And so as I was in that place, I was like, wow. And then I realized how many more things and how much things were manifesting so rapidly in my reality that I couldn't even keep up. So when I go back now to the Christmas that I listened to my higher self that showed up through my divine masculine, says, Sharon, go, 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 go. And I was in so much joy. I was bursting with joy, bursting with light, bursting with energy. And when that happens, just remember that the next day or so, you're going to feel all the part of you start to break down, because that is the polarity. That's how it works. You're going to be in that blissful, high frequency powered energy. And then after that, you may have a fever, the next day, or you may feel like you're crumbling. You may feel like you can't get up. You may feel like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, or, this is how it works. This is how it works. So when I left from my aunt and I started driving to go onto the highway, immediately a car passed by and the license plate said, "Hi, babes." I was like, oh shit. Oh my God. And I felt immediately that was him telling me, Merry Christmas, everything. I love you. Thank you for going there because you helped me. You helped yourself. You helped us. Because he only called me babes. He never called me Sharon. Okay? Never. Okay? So I knew. And it happened so quickly in a split second. I had no time to take a picture of that. No time. So this is how much that when you are tapped into that super consciousness and that part of you that is so interconnected on in multi layers and multi dimensions, that part of you is reconciling the subconscious and the conscious and the super conscious part of you. Okay, that's how you work your way through layers. How many layers are there? Multi layers, multiple layers, you see? And what's happening is that the infinity symbol itself that I keep seeing in the number 8, it's, what do you call it? It's like it's switching places. So you may find yourself being in more masculine energy. For those who have been, say you've embodied most of the feminine energy, you're going to find yourself being more in the masculine energy, because most of the divine masculine is now have been in the feminine energy more, because they're, what do you call it? Like, like how when you get a new pair of shoes and you want to try to get used to it and you try to break it in. So that's what it's like. It's like trying to break in the new energy, trying to understand it, trying to reconcile with it, because it feels different. Because what it does is that it makes you feel vulnerable and you feel all this love. You're going to find yourself feeling like, I can't kill anything. I can't kill anyone. I just want to love everything. I want to love everyone. That's what it does. And so because that masculine energy has always been, I got to cover, I got to hide. Oh, I don't want anybody to know how I feel. Oh, this is strange. I got to keep grinding, and I want to hide behind something, whether they're hiding behind, alcohol, drugs, working. It could be anything. Do you know what I mean? And now Spirit already has brought something that is going to what you call break the camel's back. It's something that's going to be the last straw. So it could be something that may have come from, and so many have been experiencing death of some kind, death and transformation, death of the old, death of who you are, physical deaths. It could be illnesses or a family member that's ill and they have to take care of that family member, and it's emotionally draining and it's a trying time. It's the end times, the end of the old. We're really ushering Aquarius. Everything new. I've had to let go of so much old stuff. Even with me being Aquarian, and I'm like, well, so we're not doing that? Okay, so I guess this is it, something new. Something new could even be something that we've never done before. Can you adapt? So, with how we are within our own divine, with our own masculine energy, is adapting to change. Adapting to change also could mean that you might have to be radical. You might have to open your mouth. You might have to cuss bad word. You might have to, it's like being in that warrior raw energy. It could be dainty and warrior-like at the same time. There's no one way to how this change is happening. You see, let the voice be heard. If you've been feeling and experiencing anything in your throat chakra, like you want to speak, but then you all of a sudden you feel sick in your throat and stuff because your throat is trying to talk to you. All the parts of your body is speaking to you somehow, some way. You see? Are you having irritation in your eye? Is it your left eye? That's feminine, emotional. Is it your right eye? That's masculine. Are you having pain? Are your bones aching? The bones and the structures with your bones is Capricorn. It's like something within you is rebuilding physically, mentally, and emotionally. How are you dealing with things mentally? Where are your mental thoughts? Are you always in the head? Are you always having to think? Does everything have to make sense to you logically? Or are you now willing to move through the process of, well, this might make sense and it's logical, but you know what? I'm going to follow my heart because my heart is telling me to do this, even though it may not make sense for me, but it's going to be different now because I'm aligning with my heart and my mind instead of just in my mind that it only has to make sense. But then my heart is telling me to do something else, but I don't know if I want to do it, because I'm afraid of what they may say or what might happen and the repercussions, because the law says, or this person says, or mommy says, or daddy says, fuck that. This energy means that you are reinventing, structuring everything that you have felt that you have gone against or it's gone against you. It's really been you anyway, but you still put it in place because you wanted to master yourself and master your way back to your truest form. And the way to do it is to break down the old stuff that you've accumulated for centuries. It's like, you have a sweater, whether it's an ugly sweater or whatever kind of sweater, and you pick up lint everywhere you go. No matter how many times you wash that sweater, and you have to be picking the lint, then you get the lint brush and all kinds of stuff. That's a lot of lint. So that's how much stuff you have accumulated in energy. Guess what? Not only is it emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. The physical pain comes last because the physical pain is what's attached and what's created from your emotions and how you feel about what you're experiencing and how you identify with it. You see? How you identify with it. If you're projecting on it or if you're constantly bringing it up or if you're not addressing it and letting it go. You see what I'm saying? And changing your view on it. Otherwise, it just stays here and then it starts to accumulate and then it turns into anger and then the anger leads to frustration and the frustration leads to irritation and annoyance. And then it may even sometimes lead to bitterness and then it starts to lead into some type of dis-ease of the mind or disease of the body or disease of the heart or disease of the uterus or the disease of the ovaries. See? Disease of the heart. It's all these things. What happens when we do not address how you're feeling inside? However you feel is neither right or wrong. It is a feeling. And when you have that feeling, when you have that part of you that is uncomfortable with what you're feeling, at that moment, talk about it. Whether you talk about it to someone or you write it down, if you have to tell somebody off, tell something, do it. If you feel you're not comfortable with that, then write it down because everything you hold inside that you don't release, that's what hurts you. You see? So this is the time that whatever is showing up for you, start from the inner child. Start from the inner child. Start from childhood. Go back to your childhood. Go back to your childhood and see what part of you has not looked at what has affected you and how it has made you feel. Okay? See what has been habit forming for you. See what has been repeating for you that you didn't even realize, because nobody's not going to come and say, hey, guess what? Because guess what? They're also with their own programming. You're the one that decided and chose that you were going to break that cycle. That's why you're here. You may be the forerunner of that reality that's paving the way and setting that, I would say it's like being the nucleus of the change, okay? And being the nucleus of the change means that you're going to be by yourself. You're going to lose more friends, maybe more family members. They may come back, they may not come back, okay? It's you. It has always been you all along, you see? And each time when you're going, I know sometimes it's so easy. We want to keep looking back, and we want to keep looking back like, oh, is anybody else there? Is anybody? And sometimes there's nobody there. Nobody there at all. You see? And the best way to get through that part of you that may be vulnerable to it, I say, do it. Whatever makes you feel the most afraid or the most scary, do it. Because it's at that point of feeling nervous or scared or uncomfortable is when the greatest version of you is going to come out. And the greatest version of you is defined by you. Nobody else but you. Nobody can't tell you. Whatever, I always say, when you cannot, let me see, what's the word? When you don't know which way to go, whatever, sometimes you just have to just let it go and let it just happen the way it happens. Or it could be a situation where you go by that highest feeling and that highest thought. Okay? That's what Spirit says. Go by the highest feeling and the highest thoughts. Greetings, Sophia. Go by that highest feeling, the highest thought. Because why? Because that is where Spirit is taking you, taking all of us to now go deeper into the heart of moving to the rhythm of how it feels inside. And that's how we connect with each other. You know what I mean? And be able to have the ability to finally, once and for all, to put yourself in each other's shoes instead of it only being your own shoes or only somebody else's shoes, but not your own. You know what I mean? That's a part of completing that circle. You see? Always complete the circle. So you honor your feelings. You identify with it. Hey, I'm angry. Hey, this is painful. Oh, I feel frustrated. Honor those feelings. Anybody who tells you not, don't be angry because it's not spiritual or whatever. That's a bunch of bullshit, okay? Because honoring your feelings means that you honor them by talking about it. You're releasing it. You're letting go. Because you see, in the past, it would be said that you don't say those things or you leave it up to telling somebody outside of you because you're giving away your power by having that other person to be able to help you to identify with it, okay? No, you identify with it. You be your own guru. You be your own person that you are letting out the feelings, whether it's towards the person or a place or a situation, or you're writing about it, or take up a recorder and record it in your phone. And then go back and listen to it and say, oh my gosh, that's how I felt 2 weeks ago. But then ask yourself, how do I feel now? Do I feel affected still? Okay, I'm going to go deeper. Keep going deeper. Go deeper and deeper. There is no ending to this deeper part of yourself that shows up, or how your soul is leading you to go deeper within yourself. Because sometimes what knowledge comes from it is that it's going to expand and it's going to grow wider. See? And that's where the wisdom that you get from it is how you apply that new part of you that's showing up now for this new year, this new time, this new energy, this new decade. Okay? It almost makes me feel like it is a new millennium too at the same time, because you can feel it. And it feels so new and it feels so strange because we're so used to being in this dense environment and this heaviness that when it feels light, you're like, oh, what the fuck? Where do I go? What do I do with this? Oh gosh, I'm supposed to suffer. I'm supposed to be in pain. Oh my God, I'm supposed to... No, this is new. So you see, that new part of you is now, it's like you're going through your own inner spiritual battle. And it's not a battle, because I know some people refer to, oh, we're having a war here, and oh, it's a spirit. No, it's the internal that's showing up all around you. Be aware of those other things that are going on, but do not attach to it. The minute you start, oh, I'm going to read about this and I'm going to go listen, I'm going to turn on the news, guess what? You're inviting it to come into your energetic field, into your solar plexus. You're bringing it into your heart. And yes, we have empathy and say, okay, I want to help this one. I want to help that one. Know when to come back to yourself and identify what the truth is. We are on an awakening path. The way we're going to awaken is by the chaos. It is through the chaos that we are coming back to ourselves. Okay, the calamities. It could be rumors of wars and talks of wars and this and that, but is there really a war going on? I don't feel a physical war, but yes, there's an internal parts of ourselves, and each person plays a role in what is coming forth. Because if it didn't happen, then how would we move on into these newer realities that we are creating? You see? You know, when I think of Mother Nature, we've had storms upon storms upon storms, and then we have all these mudslides, fires, earthquakes. All of these elements play a part in what is rebuilding. Okay, so we're rebuilding outside of ourselves and within ourselves. Is it fun to go through the darkness? Absolutely fucking not, because I know that I was not having fun for the past year to 2 to 3 years. Okay, and I've gone through even more intensity and more intensity before that. You see, and the one thing that has brought me through is that it has made me stronger. It has made me stronger, and I don't go into all the details of what I went through, but when it does come up, I'm like, wow, interesting. And you know, what's interesting, I want to share with you too, is that my cousin, I was talking, because I know sometimes I go from one story to the next, and I'm like, damn, can't I just focus? But my soul that's what it is. It's like you're all over the place. That is what it is. It's like there's no such thing as just, oh, let me focus, because your soul is so excited to be here that it's now in its full awareness of itself, that it's like, oh shit. I have literally felt like a kid in a candy shop, okay? Because of how many things are manifesting in my reality or looks or is surprising. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's like I just live in the moment. Like what I talk about in the book all the time is viva la siempre. Viva la siempre. Live always. In other words, if tomorrow I say, hey, I'm coming to your town and I'm going to visit, that means you're going to drop everything. No, I'm just kidding. But then again, I'm not. If you're coming to my town, I will drop everything and say, oh, you're there? Because you know what? I love connecting to my soul family and having conscious conversations. I do. And even now, as I'm communicating with you, I don't even feel that intensity I was feeling all in my crown and all of that. You see what I'm saying? And I don't plan things. I just move to the rhythm of my heart. You know what I mean? And I allow myself to keep on, and I don't attach to it. And of course it works really good, especially, you know, being Aquarius, because Aquarians, we don't attach to anything. We're like, psh, whatever, that's me. That's me. So, you know, but guess what? Wherever Aquarius is in your chart, you're working through mastering yourself to that part of you that decided and chose to bring it through in all the elements, you see. So it's so important to pay attention to where things are in your chart. You know, where are you moving towards? Your north node, your dharma. What are you moving from? What are you moving from? You know, what shows up in the dynamic of your family to what you're mastering, because they are your soulmates. They're the ones that said, hey, I'm going to help you, and to get to that place where you are ascending within yourself. And then that person too said, hey, you chose yourself to be a part of that dynamic as well, in whatever role that they play. If the time is up, pay attention to what is coming through from within yourself. You don't have to explain everything, okay? Because the soul knows where it's taking itself to where it has to be. The key is to listen with sacred ears, and know when to, you know, move and to roll along with it, know when to pull back, you see, without judgment. And each time you are templating that different part of you that's coming into that greater freedom and greater freedom and greater freedom. That's what it's doing. So, you know, when I think of this day 111, 111 is what you are bringing into alignment for yourself. What you're bringing into alignment, what are you drawing towards you that you probably have not felt that inner outer balance, okay? When something is not in balance, it doesn't feel right. It either feels heavy, or you may feel like as if everything is like thrown off of your path, or sometimes it may feel like it's, you know, chaotic and very, very uncomfortable, okay? When you start to feel that inner balance start to, you know, happen within you, it's like you start to feel a peace within yourself. Like it feels very peaceful, and then it might feel a little chaotic, but it's not really as intense like before. And it's just different. It's just different. And then there may be times where it may come up for you to review again, and it's going to just keep showing itself in those layers, you know, because what happens is everything is moving in that spiraling energy, and it's also straight. It's linear, and it's linear and it's also spiraling at the same time. And that's why sometimes you will feel that anxiety and nervousness in your body, because I know sometimes this can be quite difficult to understand how to read the energy when you're in the physical space. And it's in the energies that that part of your energy is now moving into the physical space. So that way I'm trying to show you how to identify it. How does it look? How does it feel? Okay. Are you able to trust your feelings even before you think you got to look it up or ask someone? This is how spirit is going to be constantly coming into your reality as a reminder, and how much you're going to be testing yourself. Like, am I going to trust this? Or, oh man, or maybe spirit might bring someone your way and it's like, oh my gosh, and you get that validation and it'll tell you that, that, however it's showing up in your reality, not everybody's not going to understand it. And I always say when it comes across like it's weird and eccentric and crazy, you're on the right track. You're on the right track for sure. And I just wanted to leave on this note in a way, because I know I can talk and talk, is when my cousin, I said she went to Jamaica, came back, and she brought a picture. And I'm going to share that picture on my mom's birthday. I'm going to share it. It's going to be a flashback, throwback, whatever back you want to go back. And that is a picture of when I was in my 20s. Yeah, I was going to say 20s. What? So wait, what age are you now? But anyway, I was in a 20-something-year-old body. But my mind, man, I feel like as if I was in like 17 maybe, in my thought process. And the picture is a picture of myself holding my second son. He was an actual infant. And my mom is standing beside me, because I was like, gosh, I don't have that much pictures of myself and my mother together. I have pictures, but not as much. But then I never thought of, well, other people have pictures. So I'm so glad it was Spirit is on Purpose that she brought the picture and she shared it with me. And then my brother is there holding onto my mother's leg. And when I look at the picture and I saw all the emotions. I don't remember why my brother was crying a little bit. And, I've had a lot of conscious conversations with my brother and what's changing. And my brother's father had transitioned last year, who he was my father in a previous life, came to find out that he was also my twin's father, and they stand alike, they look the same. It was just so freaking ass weird. And I'm like, oh my God. So it's like all these revelations and things. This is what happens when you're on this path. So much things just start to be revealed and revealed and revealed. Everything just starts to make sense. Everything starts to click. Okay. But the key is to be open and aware. You open and aware to all things and all possibilities to where your soul takes you. And when I look at the picture and I saw myself, of course, the first thing I said was like, damn, I had a hot bod. I was like, damn, I had a damn sexy body. I was like, whoa, where did it go? But you know what? When I looked at it still, I thought more about where was my mental process and how I was feeling. And when I look at myself, I was like, wow, I was feeling so disempowered. I was having so much issues with my son's father and allowing myself to be just, I don't even know what to say, like emotionally drained, and still, I was still tall, and I was still moving forward, and I didn't stop myself from where I was going to take my life. And I felt, and I remember when I was persevering, and I didn't know how much my own mother was in her emotional pain. And then I think about the generation of where the pain and how we felt as either females and males. I don't want to make it seem one-sided, because my son's father's pain came from his mother's pain, and my son's pain came from his father's pain, and my brother's pain came from my mother's pain and his father's pain. And his father and my father were friends, and my father felt hurt that he had a child, with my mother had a child with his best friend, and then I had a child with my oldest son, and his father were friends. But it's not because I knew that, but you see the cycles of all this pain. And I thought about, wow, what a ways that we have come, And if you're looking back, also look back and be proud of who you are now. And what version of yourself is showing up now? Don't judge. Just look at the beauty of how you are transcending and what you're bringing to Mother Earth and to Mother Gaia, because I can tell you that she's happy. She's happy. It may not look that way, may not seem that way. And remember that how we look at it is that we are making the change, and we're making the change by being the change. So anyway, it's about to cut off, and I don't want to just talk and it cuts off. So I will definitely try to be on tomorrow, YouTube live. Check me out. I don't know what time, so that way I can continue with these wonderful conversations. Peace be with you. And don't forget to put your intentions for